diplomatic missions to resume work in Aden. UNICEF says that 16 million Yemenis struggle to have access to drinking water. French forces announce seizure of Iranian-supplied weapons meant for the Houthis. Welcome to Yemen Today TV. This is the English news with me, Rushan Fuad. Head of the Presidential Leadership Council discussed with the head of the European Union missions the situation in the country. On the same line, the Yemeni government has called on the diplomatic missions in Yemen to resume their work in the interim capital, Aden. This report has more details.
The foreign minister of Yemen has called for the intensification for diplomatic missions to continue their work in the interim capital Aden and to also provide all the needed facilities to increase the role of the government. When the war erupted in 2014, after the Houthi militia took control of the capital Sana'a, the foreign diplomatic missions shut down their embassies. Ahmed Awad bin Mubarak, Yemen's foreign minister, stated that the ministry's office in Aden continues its diplomatic and institutional activities. He also paid a visit with a couple of European ambassadors to the new headquarters of the foreign ministry in Aden. In addition, he stressed that the resumption of the work in the new building would encourage diplomatic missions to carry out their work from Aden. The foreign minister also emphasized that achieving peace in Yemen is on the top priorities of the Presidential Leadership Council and the Yemeni government. The council and the government are currently working on improving the public services. They are also working on upholding the living and economic situation in Yemen, despite the difficult circumstances faced. Bin Mubarak also spoke about the Houthi militia's non-ending military assault in many Yemeni regions, calling for the need to pressure the Houthis and to back up the Presidential Council politically and economically to achieve peace. As a result, the European Union mission to Yemen stated that the renewal of the UN truce is an important step that Yemenis need. Hans Grunberg, the UN Special Envoy to Yemen, called on a long-term or a permanent solution for the conflict in Yemen, rather than focusing on temporary solutions that bring temporary relief.
We know from experience, however, that short-term measures and a piecemeal approach that focuses on individual issues can only provide temporary and partial relief. This is why I have also been engaging the parties on embedding these immediate-term measures in a more holistic vision and ensuring movement towards a more comprehensive settlement. This includes the resumption of a political process and a nationwide ceasefire.
Yemen is expected to witness an increase in humanitarian needs in 2023. Amid the absence of a de-escalation of the conflict and the deteriorating economic situation, if the international community does not speed up efforts to at least renew the truce, Yemenis will continue to suffer and live in this nightmare.
Defense Minister Mohsen Eddari discussed with the military advisor to the UN envoy the latest developments in the country. The Minister of Defense expressed his discontent with the inaction of the international community in confronting the terrorist Houthi militia and its barbaric attacks, especially those targeting oil facilities in the country and international navigation as well. For his part, the advisor to the UN envoy said that they are seeking to find peaceful solutions that lead to ending the war and establishing peace. The Minister of Foreign Affairs phone called the Secretary General of the Cooperation Council to congratulate him on his appointment as Secretary General of the Council. Bin Mubarak renewed his appreciation for the efforts of the Gulf Cooperation Council and its stances in supporting of the legitimacy in Yemen and its provision of development and relief aid. Bin Mubarak referred to the latest developments on the Yemeni scene and the regional and international efforts being made to renew the humanitarian truce. For his part, the Secretary General renewed the firm position of the Gulf Cooperation Council in supporting the constitutional legitimacy represented by the Leadership Council and everything that guarantees the security and stability of Yemen. The government discussed with a delegation of the European Union ambassadors' mission preparations for holding a donors' conference this year. During a meeting with the European delegation, the Minister of International Planning said Yemen is looking forward to resuming the meetings of the Yemen-European Strategic Committee to discuss the requirements of the next stage and to strengthen partnership. The United Nations Children's Fund announced that 16 million people in Yemen are in urgent need of assistance to access clean water services. According to the organization, clean and safe drinking water is crucial, but Yemenis, especially in areas controlled by the Houthi militia, are denied such an access.
The UNICEF announced that 16 million people in Yemen are in urgent need of assistance to access clean water services. In a recent report, they stated that the number of those affected and in need of access to safe water is increasing, until nearly 16 million people, or more than half of the Yemeni population, are in urgent need of assistance to access water services and proper sanitation. They added that access to clean and safe drinking water is crucial, but these opportunities don't exist in Yemen, especially in areas controlled by the militia, which have been exacerbated by the ongoing war, mass displacement, epidemics, and natural disasters. As we are speaking about the most affected areas by the water crisis, Taiz has been witnessing a worsening crisis for 8 years due to the malicious cutting of supply lines on one hand and the increasing demand for water in light of the limited wells located in deliberated areas of Taiz on the other hand. El Hawban, El Haima, Habir, and El Hawjala are areas that contain more than 80% of the wells that used to provide Taiz with water, but unfortunately they are under the control of the Houthi militia, which cut off the water as part of the siege on Taiz. The severe shortage of water in Taiz prompted the population to search for water, with no regard for its quality and its suitability for safe consumption. This urged water experts to issue warnings demanding the crisis be dealt with seriously and quickly, unless a disaster will strike the besieged city sooner or later. People in Taiz depend mainly on water sold by private tankers, the value of which takes a large part of their income, while some families made use of their children to fetch charitable water. Just as most of the citizens in Taiz live with the fear of hunger, they also live with the fear of thirst, in a severe reality that is nothing to be described as catastrophic.
Military sources in Taiz Governorate reported that clashes erupted between government forces and the Houthi militia. The sources pointed out that clashes took place between the two sides in all directions of the city. According to the sources, the confrontations were accompanied by the flight of drones amid intense movements of the rebel militia west of the city. French Special Forces seized a boatload of Iranian-supplied weapons and ammunition bound for Houthi militias in Yemen. This came a day after a U.S. Coast Guard vessel seized illegal drugs worth a total of $33 million from a fishing vessel in the Gulf of Oman. Such an incident comes as part of the international community's efforts to secure the Red Sea and international waterways. Transparency International reported that Yemen ranked 176th out of a total of 180 countries included in the assessment. The Corruption Perceptions Index ranks 180 countries and territories by their levels of public sector corruption on a scale from 100 points. According to the report, Denmark is the least country in the world in terms of corruption this year, with a score of 90 points, followed by Finland and New Zealand. Coming next. Cairo International Book Fair continues for the second week with a special contribution of Yemen's Corner.
نحن ديما من الغل والغلا تبعيد، كنا ندي بالدواب نعبي ماء وتشجعنا. ننزل الساعة 5 رجعنا الساعة 9.
ما يقلنا ظهر لأنه زحمة ما حد لي يخلي الجهل يغرق، وإحنا تعبنا زيادة.
وكنت أحس صدري يوجعني وعز قدرك ركبي يوجعيني.
كنا بنستخدم حتى نغسل أولادنا إلا يعني بأيام معدودة.
كنت أغيب على المدرسة لأن أنا كنت أروح الديمة.
حتى وإن كان يجي الأمطار تروح هدر لأنه ما في معي خزانة.
الوقت نشتري ب 30,000 مع هستيلك ما يغلقش معها الشهر.
بس راح تطلب الله ولا أي حاجة، عاملة كل شغلك الماء.
Welcome back. The For Humans Foundation for Development in Al Hodeidah Governorate has launched the distribution of grants for the Training and Economic Empowerment of Women project with the Kuwaiti support. This report has more details.
For Humans Foundation for Development in Hodeidah Governorate has launched the distribution of grants for the training and economic empowerment of women with Kuwaiti support.
The association receives women and girls in general, and those with special needs, especially the widows. In the current course, we have trained women in making of incense and sewing. This was made in order to train and empower women and to improve their financial situation and livelihoods.
The correspondent of Yemen Today TV channel stated that the project targeted 100 women from the districts of Hais and Khoukha with a number of economic empowerment bags in order to support their livelihoods. In Khoukha district, 50 beneficiaries were empowered with livestock breeding, and in Hais district, beneficiaries were also empowered with economic empowerment bags in the fields of perfume, incense and sewing.
We have been trained to make essence and perfumes for 1 month, and thank God we have been granted the bag from the association. We hope that it will be a good start and it will be developed more and more. This training course will contribute in improving our financial conditions amid this hard economic situation. We are suffering because of the war, and these grants will help us to depend on ourselves and to get livelihoods for our families. They will help us fight poverty.
The project contributes to alleviating the suffering of many families who have lost their breadwinners and will enable them to support themselves and their families as a result of the difficult living conditions of the war in the country.
Local sources in Ib Governorate said that the Houthi militia imposed new levies on shop owners. These levies come a week after previous levies imposed by the militia on the owners of water trucks in the city of Ib and the rest of the districts, which affected the price of water. A document revealed a crisis that threatens to put power plants in Aden out of service. This comes after the power stations were supplied with adulterated fuel, which lost 30% of its efficiency. It also indicated the accumulation of debts in light of the government's failure to pay arrears. The station stressed the need to develop radical solutions to their debtness, which would ensure continuity of service. Chairman of the Presidential Leadership Council discussed with the Minister of Agriculture and Irrigation the minister's plans in the agricultural and fish fields. The President was briefed on the ongoing preparations to launch work on the strategic Hassan Dam project in the Delta of Abyan with a cost of $78 million. The vital project will bring out a qualitative agricultural shift as well as raise the groundwater level in Abyan Governorate and Aden. The war has impacted the agriculture sector in Yemen. In Tehama, farmers continue to struggle with having the basic equipment needed to make farming more efficient. The following report has more details.
Agricultural lands in Tihama suffered from a large share of the Houthi war and mines, which completely forced the farmers to stop their agricultural activity. The local authority in Hodeidah inspected a number of farmers in the recently liberated villages, a visit aimed at raising the needs of farmers and removing the obstacles they encounter in order to raise the local product.
This visit is under the supervision of the PLC leadership, President Rashad Al-Alimi, in order to inspect farmers and find out their needs in order to increase agricultural products in the liberated areas. There are too many farms, and the farmers need agricultural equipment, a solar energy system, irrigation and distillation systems, as well as pesticides and fertilizers.
Farmers are in urgent need to be supported with all agricultural tools, allowing them to cultivate their lands in all liberated areas and export abroad all types of crops that Tihama farmers provide.
The Houthis came here and excavated the land. Now the land needs to be prepared and plowed. We need pesticides and an irrigation system to flourish agriculture. We will study the farmers' requirements and meet their needs in all liberated areas. It's worth noting that these lands were completely mined by the Houthi militia, and the mine teams removed them from all farms to reclaim those lands.
The agriculture sector in Tihama in particular, and Yemen in general, deserves support and attention, especially since the Yemeni lands are distinguished by their fertility. Today, the local market is in need of local products, such as vegetables and fruits, that Yemen is famous for its fine quality in the Arabian Peninsula.
The 54th edition of Cairo's International Book Fair continues its proceedings for the second week. The Yemeni corner within the book fair includes several books in different fields. This report has more details.
The Cairo International Book Fair in its 54th edition is considered one of the biggest events currently held in Egypt and the MENA region. The book fair was participated by different countries around the world like Yemen, Libya, Spain, and Hungary. Argentina and Colombia also participated for the first time this year in the Cairo International Book Fair in its 54th edition. People from diverse nationalities came to the book fair, recording about 1 million visitors. There were guests from England, the United States of America, Syria, and Yemen.
I'm here for the biggest book fair in the Middle East. Of course, I have seen a lot of books around here, but I ain't really seen a book fair this big in Egypt.
I love to meet people from all sorts of countries. I hear different languages all around me, and it's amazing to hear different perspectives and learn different words and see different books about so many different things as well. So, yeah.
Cairo International Book Fair also has many partitions of different countries, with a large amount of guests from all age groups.
I came to the book fair on a trip and I was really excited. I'm from Syria and it's really nice to come here and meet people from all over the world. I saw a unique variety of books types.
The Yemeni participation recorded a unique presence with new publications for a number of Yemeni writers and novelists, in addition to the Yemeni publishing houses and institutions.
مشروعي النقدي هو مشروع أسميته المشروع الجامع وهو يتألف من
My project is called The Collective, and it consists of 32 books. The books include literary and poetic, historical, political, and philosophical criticism.
The book fair also had many cultural and artistic events, with about 500 activities that includes writers, thinkers, and artists from different parts of the world. Cairo International Book Fair in its 54th edition brought all the countries together and in one place, giving an opportunity for people of different countries to meet each other and to know more about other cultures of the world.
Here is a reminder of the main headlines. Yemeni government calls on diplomatic missions to resume working in Aden. UNICEF says that 16 million Yemenis struggle to have access to drinking water. French forces announce seizure of Iranian-supplied weapons meant for the Houthis. This is the end of the news. It was Roshan Fouad. Thank you for watching.